It's not just a feeling of pride, it's the sense of pride that you need. Good evening, guys. Ndamba for more, your weekly program that's gonna update you about football. Watching Argentina versus Morocco. So we're here today to talk football. And if you log in, please just mention maybe where you're watching from. And if you're watching the game Argentina versus Morocco, FIFA under 20, Morocco is leading at halftime by a score of 2-0. Beautiful football, man. Zabiri, the goal getter of Morocco, he scored again 2. He scored 2 today. So we're gonna talk football today. Hope you guys are ready for this. It's a lot to cover within the next 45 minutes to an hour that Morocco is actually playing. So please comment if you're watching. Let me know you're watching. I'm gonna take some time to share, and please also you can share so that we get more people on this live. Yeah. So let's go ahead and talk. Yeah. So at least for the next 45 minutes or now, we're going to talk about football. We're going to talk about Morocco, Argentina, under 20. Morocco is leading by a score of 2-0. We're going to talk about the culture of Moroccan football and why Morocco has been so successful, especially in the last couple of years, let's say 4, 5 years. You know, Morocco has been so successful. I mean, at all levels. You're not only talking about the national team level, where Morocco went to the semifinals of the World Cup. You're not talking about only about women's football, where Morocco actually lost to Nigeria in the African Cup of Nations women, and that Moroccan team that also lost to Morocco, who lost to, they were in semifinals. I mean, Egypt, was it Egypt that actually eliminated them, or Algeria? So this Moroccan team has actually planned to be successful. You can go back to what Mohammed VI has done as far as setting a stage for this Moroccan team to be successful. And here they are, 2 good goals from their striker. They are just 45 minutes away, maybe from winning from winning the under 20 African Cup of Nations. The other African team that has done that, the only African team that has been able to do that, is Ghana, and that was in 2009. Ghana won the under 20 FIFA World Cup. This tournament is being played in Chile, and if you're in the United States, you want to watch it, you can watch it on Fox Sports 1. If you're out of the United States, you can actually watch it on FIFA website. It's FIFA Plus, okay? So FIFA Plus, if you go to FIFA's website, FIFA Plus, they show these games, so you can watch along. Right now it's halftime, and as I said, Morocco is leading by a score of 2-0. So great stuff. We got lots to cover today. Let me actually share this live before we start. Let me share to some groups that I am part of, and then also share, guys. You can also share this live so that we can go ahead and talk about football. And for anyone who wants to be part of it, that has maybe something to say, you can shoot me a message, and I can actually integrate you. You can come on and we talk football. There were some great games actually this weekend. After the international break, Liverpool was at home to Manchester United. For those who watched it, you know what happened. For those who did not watch, you will know. In a minute, I'm going to break down that game so that we can all have our opinions. Actually, my opinion about the game, how the game actually panned out. It was a nice game. In La Liga, Real Madrid went back on top of the table. They beat Getafe by a score of 1-0. Barcelona played yesterday, and Barcelona won that game by a score of 2-1. Raul, the defender, he actually started from the bench because I think the coach of Barcelona, Flick, wasn't happy about his performances against Sevilla, where Barcelona was beaten badly by Sevilla by a score of 4-1. So he was relegated to the bench. However, for those who do not know, Raul, till the age of 16, 17, he was playing like a striker, as a center forward. So the coach sees that quality, and if you see the finish, his finish yesterday for Barcelona to win 2-1, that was a striker's finish. So that sets up next weekend Barcelona versus Real Madrid, El Clasico. Both teams, if I have to be honest, Madrid, yeah, is riding, on the back of Mbappe. I think he has 10 league goals already, so he's red hot. But if I would have to analyze the whole Madrid squad, I don't think Madrid is playing at a very, very convincing level. However, they're unbeaten are they unbeaten in La Liga? No, they lost one game in La Liga already. But however, they're leading La Liga by 2 goals. And Barcelona, if you watch Barcelona also against Sevilla, that was not a good game. Even the game yesterday, Barcelona is keeping it late. Remember Champions League against Newcastle? That late strike by Rashford, he scored twice. And Barcelona is just keeping it late. So both teams are not playing at a very, very high level. They're not convincing. But hey, it's El Clasico. When it's El Clasico, no excuses. So next week is going to be El Clasico. So for those who are just logging in, Morocco is leading Argentina by a score of 2-0, FIFA under 20. So we have an eye on that. That game is actually going on Fox Sports 2, I'm sorry. So the game is on. I'm watching the game while we're having this session. Let me actually just share this also to the groups, to some, let's say, WhatsApp groups. Let me share it to some WhatsApp groups and share also my YouTube link to various groups so that we can have this conversation, so we can talk football. And as I said, anyone who feels that they want to come on and talk football, you're welcome. Just shoot me a message and I can make that happen, Okay, I can make that happen. Let me see, where is that? Okay, cool. So please share. Also comment. Let me know what you thought about the game. Manchester United versus Liverpool. Who were you rooting for? And do you still think Liverpool is going to win the EPL? So let me go ahead and share my YouTube, because I'm on YouTube and together with Facebook, so you can watch on from both platforms. Argentina just made 2 subs, Fernandez, number 18, and Rada coming in. So let me go ahead and see my YouTube channel. Let me share. And we're going to start in a minute. The second half is about to kick off. So if you're interested in watching that game, it's a watch along, right? So you can be watching the game and we be talking about, football that happened this weekend. So Let's get on it. Just one moment, guys. I'm about to share my YouTube channel. Let me see, share, so that those who are not on Facebook can actually watch. That's what I'm trying to do right here. And then back for more general. Okay, we almost there. We almost there. Okay, so where are we gonna start today? Where are we gonna start? We're gonna start with some results of the EPL. Two big wins, Aston Villa and Manchester United. I think if these teams actually need some assurance, or of how they've been playing or how they started their season, especially Unai Emery. It took him up to 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago to get his first win, and they were not scoring. So it's good to see them win. Chelsea also had a big win at Nottingham, but that was expected. The way Forest started the season, that turmoil, ownership letting Nuno actually go. I think that was a wrong decision. And we also see that now, you know, Nottingham Forest has actually fired their coach after how many games are we in this season already? After 8 games only. You know, we're not up to, it's just barely one quarter of the season. And management has already fired a coach that they hired just because they actually had to let Nunez go for reasons not concerning football. The incident that happened last year actually fractured the relationship that Nuno had together with the ownership of Nottingham Forest. And I said something about this single owned clubs. Clubs actually owned by individual. It's one person who owns a club. One person has to make that decision. You know, there are times they can be brilliant with their appointments, as he was brilliant with his appointment of Nino. They almost made it to Champions League. The game that actually determined that Nottingham Forest was not going to make it to Champions League. We saw that altercation between the ownership and the coach, and that fractured the relationship. Coach sacked Nuno, and just 8 games into the season, he sacked another coach. So in that situation, I think ownership is just totally wrong. Now, let me see what position they are. Nottingham Forest is actually 18th, in relegation. 18th in the relegation. That's their fault. So I can feel sorry. And they were smashed by Chelsea. Chelsea also has a discipline issue. Fourth red card for Chelsea to start the season. So that's a discipline issue right there. Gusto was the one who, in the 87th minute, he received his second yellow card, and that was good enough to send them out. I want to hear from Chelsea fans. What do you think about your team? Do you think that the aggressiveness of the team is what is leading to that many records? It's already 4, and we are just 8 games into the season. Do you think you guys stand a chance to challenge for the title? Cole Palmer is still out injured. Pedro is not firing. How many goals does he have this season? Pedro, let me see. Pedro has about 2 goals or something like that during the season. I have to look at that. Oh, no, I'm not talking about, I'm talking about Pedro, not Pedro Neto, but the center forward who actually came to Chelsea. And when he actually came to Chelsea, I said this, right? You guys making all this new noise about Jackson not firing, and you let Jackson go. And I do understand at the last minute they wanted to keep Jackson, but Nicholas Jackson was already fed up. He was already fed up. I'm talking about Joao Pedro now. Joao Pedro is now uh, in the team, playing as a lone striker. We understand he's a guy. He's not your typical center forward, right? So Pedro basically is someone who likes to come from the wings. So he likes to play like a second striker. So had you let Jackson in this team, Jackson can still play together with Pedro, you know. So yes, he's scored 2 goals so far this season. You know, goals per match 0.25 goals per match, minutes played 338. You know, it's not bad, but again, it's not the same player that we saw firing, you know, red hot during the FIFA Club World Cup. You know, so the EPL, two different things. Let me see his touches. Total touches 331. So he's getting actually involved, you know, in the game, but he's not scoring, or he can be reliant. He can be that player which is reliant. I mean, if Chelsea wants to win the league, of course, making Champions League, if that's the goal, then I think Chelsea is actually good enough to make that top four. However, not good enough, in my opinion, to realistically win the EPL. What are your thoughts? If you're a Chelsea fan, let me know. What are your thoughts? Next game we can check on. Let me see. The next game, there are some results I can just read. Oh, yeah. That Brighton Newcastle. That's a game I had actually my mind on just because of Baliba. Baliba had a tough week with the Cameroonian national team where they were they drew to Angola, you know. They won one, drew to Angola, and his performances, especially against Cape Verde, was not that good, you know. So Bareba actually started this, you know, what happened actually during that transfer window, and he was supposed to go to Manchester United. That deal did not actually go through, and we have seen Baleba start the season slow, and the slow start of the season has also made the coach of Brighton reduce his minutes. I think that's a good approach because a player that is not settled in his mind needs to be reintroduced, like, you know, with care. And he's been playing an average of about 50 minutes a game. The game against Newcastle, he played a solid 71 minutes. He did not put a foot wrong, you know. So it was a great game for him where he won, you know, tackles up the field, about 2, 3 tackles up the field, defended well, and he had a 100% passing rate. So that was a great performance by Baleba, a game where Brighton actually beat Newcastle by the score of 2 goals to 1. Welbeck scored 2 goals, great goals, especially the first one. I like that chip in that first goal. Burnley beat Leeds 2-0. Crystal Palace, woo wee, 3-3 against Bournemouth. Now, that was a game. And what I remember about that game is the miss by Mateta. There was a last minute miss. I think that was one of the biggest misses, you know, this weekend. You know, Jean-Philippe Mateta, he actually scored. How many goals did he score? He scored 2 goals. You know, he should have. Hold on, wait on. He scored 3 goals, a hat trick. But he could have scored 4 goals. He could have scored 4 goals. Now, this is a center forward who is being celebrated. I mean, he is being celebrated because he is 28. He's not a young, you know, he's not a young player. He's not a young player. And he's being celebrated because he actually received his first call up for France at the age of 28. And then there's some controversy because he actually spoke about what's the guy's name? The former Crystal Palace player. He's now with Charlotte FC. The Ivorian guy, what's his name? That name is going away. But there's some controversy because he mentioned. Hold on, guys. Let me actually check. The name. The name just actually got off my mind, and I'll tell you guys what's actually happening with Mateta. And let me say Ivorian in Charlotte FC. Yeah, who plays for Charlotte FC? In Charlotte FC. Zaha. I'm talking about Zaha. Wilfred Zaha. That's who I'm talking about. So there's some controversy with Zaha, and Zaha actually had to respond, right? This is concerning. Let me actually see what that controversy is with Mateta. Mateta and Zaha. Yeah, what's it all about? Jonathan Collins for the day. No, that's not what I'm trying to do here. Let me see. Matter of fact, Mateta made a statement that in his time at Crystal Palace, when Zaha was at Crystal Palace, Zaha was the biggest name when he was at Crystal Palace. And they were having a conversation about national teams and if Mateta will actually make it to the French national team. So he actually gave his opinion, like a friend or friends or teammates actually speaking, about the situation, and he joked about it. Fast forward almost a decade after, Mateta threw Sarah under the bus as if Sarah, you know, was jealous about the situation and that Zaha had said he will never make it over to make it get a call up for the French national team. So that's the little controversy actually surrounding those two. So I wish they can just come out and straighten up whatever misunderstanding is actually happening, you know, and let everybody move on. Now, there is a new, I think it's a rule, right? Where you have, if anyone watching the FIFA Under 20 World Cup, Argentina has just requested for a review. And in this FIFA, I mean, what FIFA is using this so that coaches or teams can actually have challenges. And now they are challenging a call that an Argentina was fouled in the box. I'm looking at a review. I mean, what's there? There's not much there. What are they challenging? That maybe that the Moroccan player actually held the Argentinian striker when he tried to hit the ball. But I don't see much. And let me just see what the ref would actually say. If any one of you guys have been listening, watching this, let me see. No penalty. So what happened is that the Argentinians actually challenged. There was a cross, the ball that came in, and the striker tried to hit the ball, and he was tussling with the defender. The Argentinian player actually went down, and that's why the Argentinian coach actually has challenged to say that there was a penalty. But VAR, the ref went to VAR. Look at it. So it's a little bit different than what we see in the EPL or maybe in other FIFA competitions where you don't have a challenge. In these lower competitions, you have a challenge. Yeah. Enough said. So Mateta, he's actually having a great career. I mean, a great season. He scored 3 goals. Wow. I think that's his first hat trick in the EPL, you know. So good things are actually happening for him. Manchester City, Haaland, man. Haaland cannot stop scoring. Scored 2 against Everton. Keep in mind, Everton has been playing good, lately. So Manchester City actually beat them 2-0. Sunderland. Sunderland won, beat Wolves 2-0, man. Wolves is in trouble. Wolves, I think they're last. And then Arsenal. Arsenal versus Fulham. Arsenal beat Fulham 1-0. Corner kicks. Corner kicks. Arsenal in these tough games that they are not creating many chances, they're actually finding a way to win. So let me take a little break. Let me get some water. Hope you guys are actually enjoying. And for those who can watch, just tune in Fox Sports 2. Morocco is playing Argentina. Yeah. So the score is still 2 goals to 0 by Morocco. And I talked about that Aston Villa. Aston Villa won. Oh man, I mean that was a great game. Rogers scored a screamer, a great goal by Rogers. Bentancur also scored for. I mean, he scored the opening goal for Spurs. Rogers equalized for Aston Villa. Then there was that beautiful goal, by Aston Villa to win 2-1. A great goal. I mean, the combination. If you look at the combination that led to that goal, it was just amazing. You know, from the pass to the setup for the goal, it was just beautiful. And Aston Villa actually won that game by 2 goals to 1. Let's talk about the game of the week: Liverpool versus Manchester United. Before we talk about that game, I want to ask you, who do you have or who did you have winning the league? I know the transfer window, Liverpool had so much fraction in this transfer window. Many people have Liverpool as the winners, of the EPL because of the business they did in the summer. Isaac built, who else came into Liverpool? Ekitike. And when you look at Ekitike, he scored in the first 3, 4 games. I know he scored Community Shield. Then he scored in the first 3 EPL games. And the goals that he scored, right? You see that he is a center forward that actually links up with the whole team, like really well. Okay. So he plays, he combines, comes from deep, makes runs into the box, and we see how he scored some, especially that game against him. Was it Bournemouth? Because some of those games were actually close games, right? Tough games. So he's been hot. He's been playing well. Under normal circumstances, he would start against Manchester United today. But because Liverpool spent almost 180 million US dollars on Isaac, we saw Ekitike start from the bench. And this is something that I've been talking about. How will Slot manage this team? Because when I look at Liverpool, I think directly about Real Madrid having so much firepower and not having a good enough balance. When you look at the team that Slot inherited from Klopp, that team had a great foundation with Trent Alexander-Arnold coming from the right. Keep in mind, Trent Alexander-Arnold in the past 3, 4, 5 seasons, at one point, him and Robertson had the most assists. I mean, those are wing backs, right? But they had the most assists for Liverpool. That should tell you that Liverpool actually spread, they had a threat coming from deep. Fast forward, last year, unfortunately, okay, during the summer, unfortunately, we know that Diogo actually passed away. That unfortunate accident. May his soul rest in peace. Diogo, Diaz, Nunez, those were players who could come from the bench and impact Liverpool. Gakpo had 18 goal contribution on all tournament for Liverpool. You saw how he played today. So these are players that actually performed so well last year, and Liverpool was able to win the APL. Liverpool has brought in 6, 7 new players. One player that they let go, that they had control over it, was Diaz. They had control having Diaz, but they did not want to pay him his valuation. That's why Diaz actually left for Bayern Munich. Nunez had not settled down. So I understand that they had to let him go. Another player that They somehow had control, Trent Alexander-Arnold, but then waited till the last moment and he chose to go to Real Madrid. So when you look at the way Liverpool slot, there's no team that is billing. I talked about Isaac, the arrival of Isaac, Ekitike. So Wills, those are attacking players. Those are three attacking players. Now, for those who have watched Wills play for Leverkusen, he's a creative player. He scores also. But coming into the EPL, he actually needs time to adjust. In my opinion, I don't think he is the reason why Liverpool has lost 4 games in a row in all competition. I think that he needs time to adjust. However, one of the biggest loss, 1-2 punch, is Trent Alexander-Arnold and Diaz. So 1-2 punch, Trent Alexander-Arnold leaving for Real Madrid and Diaz leaving for Bayern Munich. How will they replace the double-digit assist of a guy like Trent Alexander-Arnold? We've seen the way Liverpool has been playing, waiting till late to score in more than 2-3 games. I know that game against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, against Bournemouth, and there are other games where Liverpool has actually waited till the last minute. Against Arsenal, also that free kick against Arsenal came late. So we have seen Liverpool wait. They scored about 5 goals, 6 goals in the 9 minute. They've also conceded about 4 or 5 goals within, even today. So Liverpool, in my opinion, will not win the EPL for these reasons. Because there's a time to adjust. There are things that cannot actually happen for them this season. They might have to wait next season, especially Isaac and Ekitike. Those are center forwards. A guy like Ekitike, he needs consistent playing time. So in my opinion, when I looked at the lineup, I was like, wrong lineup. But that's the pressure when you spend 180 million for Isaac. Then you have to play him. You spent about 90 million US dollars for Ekitike. And he started the season, where he starts the season. He's played 8 games. Is that 8 games? Played 8 games already. I mean, there was a game that he missed, but 8 games have been played. He has 3 goals, 1 assist. Meanwhile, the guy you started again ahead of him, Isaac, has not scored this season. He has 1 assist. So Liverpool is looking to play. So I don't know how Liverpool is actually looking, to use these players, in this situation. Today, Manchester United started the game very well. Mbeumo scored. There was an incident, McAllister, he received a knock on the head, injury. Yes, the ref could have stopped the game. However, the ref was not in a position to see that he was caught in the head by his own player. Mbeumo, great finish for 1-0. That helped Manchester United stick to their game plan. They pressed well when they were without the ball. And Cunha, although he did not score, he's yet to score. I think he played a very vital role. And Manchester United was clinical. How many opportunities did they actually get? That's when you're clinical. I think this is their second best game, in my opinion, of the season. Of course, yes, they beat, was it Sunderland? They beat 3-0. Or what team did they? Was it Burnley? I mean, they won a game 3-0. But when I look at this game, the game that they lost in the opening day against Arsenal, and the game today against Liverpool, those are reference games for a team like Manchester United, because they stood to their game plan and they executed, defended really well as a team. And when they had the opportunities, they finished. the one by Maguire. And when you look at the tactics of Slot at 1-1 or when they were down, he actually need to make some changes. And that's how he's been playing. They had 5 attacking players on the pitch when Manchester United scored them that winning goal. And what does that really mean? What does that translate into? That goal actually came from a corner kick. The ball was cleared. And Fernandes, that was a perfect ball, the second ball. When you have so many players that are attacking players, they don't know the threat of the second ball. And that's what actually happened, because when you look at the goal, Manchester United had about 3 players against 1. Konate was the only Liverpool player trying to defend. There were 3 players at the back of the pool. And that was a free header, So Slot needs to rethink his strategy. For me, the lineup, when you look at the lineup, if you're just going based on face value, the lineup was a good lineup. However, as I said, you have to play the best player at the moment. Ekitike, there's no reason why Ekitike starts that game from the bench. You play Ekitike. Mo Salah has not started this season that good. Of course, there are many games last season when you saw Mo Salah also did not play well. However, I think Mo Salah is at his best when he has a guy like Trent Alexander-Arnold playing in the same flank with him. Now, Bradley, I'm not saying that Bradley is bad. He's good defensively, but he does not help the overlaps, making the field wide, stretching it, making sure that Salah has 1-on-1 as opposed to 1 against 2, 3 players, So that's something that we have to put an eye on, That's something we have to put an eye on. I think this game is actually getting physical, man. It's just 17 minutes left. Morocco is leading, still by a score of 2-0. So those kids, it's actually getting physical. Yeah. So basically, Slot has a tough one in his hands. It's actually very good. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, to see how Slot will be able to manage, the situation, because hey, the pressure is now on them. You spend so much money during the offseason buying these players, and we have to see how they actually set up. I think what Manchester United also did very well tactically was that they played Mbeumo on Van Dijk. Playing Mbeumo on Van Dijk, especially when Manchester United was going long balls, Van Dijk was winning all the long balls, but the second balls, Manchester United was benefiting from the second balls. If you see even the goal, there was a long ball that came, then that header injury to McAllister. However, Mbeumo was able to bounce, on that pass from the second ball that was actually won by Manchester United. Then the assist by the high-flying wingback, Ahmad, to Mbeumo, and then the goal happened. So that tactics to play Mbeumo narrow actually worked, because it actually exploited the space that the left back of Liverpool left, because that's how Liverpool plays. Liverpool wants to attack with his wing back, and in this new Liverpool, the left back is the one doing all the attack, because Bradley, he's good defensively, but he's not the same player as maybe Frimpong. We saw Frimpong came in and what he did. However, Frimpong has been injured, so he has not had enough time with that squad, and we see how it's affecting, Liverpool. Even when Frimpong starts playing, on a consistent basis, Frimpong is not a Trent Alexander-Arnold, Of course, he's not a Trent Alexander-Arnold. It's just totally different. And for those talking about Wirtz, I don't think he's had a really bad, start for Liverpool. It's just a matter of 3 weeks when Liverpool was still winning, leading, the EPL before they lost 4 in a row. So I think Florian Wirtz will actually get there as a creative midfielder. It's just that the EPL is a little bit too fast, too physical for him, but also moving to a new league, to a new team, you all need time to adjust. And that's what's happening. So keep an eye on the situation. Train Alexander Arnold and Ekitike who starts. Mo Salah, slow start. Gakpo actually had a good game, man. He was unfortunate. Hit the woodwork, I think, 3 times. Yeah, hit the woodwork, I think, 3 times. And he wasn't able to score. Ekitike came from the bench, also look, you know, to threaten. Frimpong came from the bench, had some good moments, but Mo Salah was disappointing, very very disappointing. Van Dijk was disappointing, and that was due to some good tactics from Manchester United. Then on the other side, Manchester United, I think Cunha had a good game. Although he did not score, there were moments where he needed to keep possession, he needed to make the Liverpool players work, and that's what he did. Fernandez created opportunities when he actually plays up high. There are instances where he plays up high, and then he's able to create opportunities. Mount actually played; he was replaced in the second half, so I think he did well. Ahmad also is a player that actually did well. Then I think Manchester United as a squad, Maguire for me man of the match performance. Apart from what Mbeumo actually did, but Maguire they defended well. The league also defended well, and Mo Salah was non-existent. You know, so I think it was a good game. The goalkeeper of Manchester United, he also played well. So overall, I think that was a good performance by Manchester United. It's been a while they go to Anfield and win, and now some people are already saying that Liverpool is on a crisis. But the people that are saying that Liverpool is in crisis are those who actually said Liverpool will win the EPL. For me, it was not Liverpool for these reasons. First of all, I think it's tough to win back to back. Secondly, with Trent Alexander-Arnold, uh, Diaz leaving, the passing away of Diogo, and then the way Arsenal has actually started the season, what Arsenal actually did also in the transfer window, those are things, that made me say, hey, I don't think Liverpool is going to be favorite. For me, it was always going to be Arsenal. And I mean, what are your thoughts? Who do you have actually winning the EPL? It's still too early. It's still too early. Hey, I do understand that. It's not even it's just a quarter of games that have been played. 8 games, so it's still too early. But hey, I said it before the beginning of the season, and I will remain with my call. So it's actually the 80th minute. Morocco still leading by a score of 2 goals to 0. So let's watch the game a little bit. It's a physical game, but I've been saying this. Morocco has actually. Let me see if I can see. I had a flyer right here. I can show you. We can talk about the reason why you see a country like Morocco is doing so good in football, recently. So many things actually going for them. It's planned. That's what I like about it, So it's not as if their success is manna from heaven. You know what I'm saying? It's not as if the success is manna from heaven. If you see the way these kids actually play, they are good on the ball, they are passing, you can see a lot of patterns, when they are playing, So I'm gonna share, some documentation that I actually prepared, when I was some documentation that I actually prepared. Let me actually get that documentation so I can share with you guys. Image file. Because these things are actually planned. Yeah, that's the documentation that I do have. Let me see this. All right. Let me hide that. Let me see the banner. Okay, hide that. Okay, let me roll with that. Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. So, as I said, you know, FIFA Under 20 World Cup. It's Argentina attacking right now. Argentina is putting pressure. They are requesting a penalty. It's just about 8 minutes to go. So, this is what I was saying, right? Long term planning. It's not luck, right? It's a decade of reforms. Oh, the goal. Oh, the ref is going to. The ref has been called. Argentina is requesting review. Yeah, I think I don't know how many challenges that coaches do have. The coaches will have maybe about two challenges because they just call it. Let me see what happened. Right? They're saying there's a handball. Let's see. They're saying there's a handball. I mean, this is becoming ridiculous, man. As much as I like, I don't think I like this rule, man. I don't like this rule where coaches are challenging. This is not basketball. This is not, man. They should let this slide. I know FIFA likes to try things on many different levels. It's just becoming ridiculous, slowing down the game. This is not football, man. This is not basketball for real, man. Football should not be having such reviews. It's ridiculous. I mean, I do understand that we are trying to make the game better and all that, but things like this, giving these reviews where the coach challenges a call and then the ref has to go. What are you saying? That's not a handball. He hit his face. It's not a handball. I mean, this is becoming ridiculous, man. This is not basketball, man. This challenges. Let me see what the ref gonna say. What is he saying? Exactly, he hit his face. Man, this is becoming ridiculous. I understand that this is the youth level and people are trying to, but it's becoming ridiculous. So as we can see, Morocco has been planning for their success for quite a while. It's not luck. It's a decade long of reforms under Fuzi, Lekja, Mohammed. Yep, I feel the kingdom. Is that the king? Yeah, king. I mean, he has that academy was built. The academy, I think, the academy was built. It was finished in 2019, not 2009. I think it's 2019. And the focus actually was on the youth, coaches, and women football. So we have seen a sustainable growth of football in Morocco, and there's also like under 20 is a World Cup going on, female World Cup going in Morocco right now. So we see how these big projects, has actually benefited, Morocco. We know that in 2022 World Cup, Morocco was the first African team to actually make it to the semifinals of a World Cup. Now we see the under 20 team about to maybe win their first major trophy and become the second African nation to win this tournament. As I said earlier, Ghana won it in 2009. So we see the global impact. You know, as I said, first African team semi-finalists in Qatar 2022. We also saw in the FIFA Club World Cup, Wydad and Raja dominate African football. But Wydad actually participated in the FIFA, Club World Cup, and these teams actually went back home with at least 15 million US dollars. So they are benefiting financially also from this project of theirs, and they have a professional league called the Botola Pro League, Moroccan League, well structured, you know, ready to exploit players. Most of these are under 20 football players that you see about to win this World Cup. They were actually raised, in Europe. 17 of them, 17 of these players are coming from Morocco. So there's a blend between them, like the home-based players and the diaspora players. So that's a good initiative, for Morocco. It's a good blend, you know. So there's some good governance and infrastructure, transparent leadership, consistency, and progress. That's the African new standard. And Morocco is doing it, you know, they leading Africa in that aspect. In all, even countries like Egypt that have been doing good. Egypt also has a great league. South Africa has a great league. But if you can see Morocco, the model of Morocco is doing it at all levels, and they begin to reap benefits. Is the new standards. Morocco leads the way. So there are three keys to a successful football nation: wealth, population, culture, and organization. And Morocco actually fills all these three, you know, things that we're talking about. And as we all know, December will be the African Cup of Nations actually holding place in Morocco. So Morocco is just about 3 minutes away from beating Argentina. Argentina came to this tournament as one of the favorites. The under 20 World Cup tournament. The likes of Messi, you have won. Yeah, you have won this tournament. So Argentina is not just any type of nation, and the under 20 is taking place in Chile. Argentina is a nation that they have a good grassroots program. They have some talented players, but you need to watch this Moroccan team, and the Moroccan team is actually doing African proud. They're gonna be the second African nation to actually win this tournament. So it's exciting. I mean, that's how you build football. For me, consistency is actually key. You build your football in such a way that the players that play at home-based player, they are able to live off their profession. Okay, even if they decide to say, okay, I want to stay at home, or even at the end of their careers, they can say, okay, I want to go give back, to the nation. They have that opportunity. But look at we're talking about Abubakar. Look at Abubakar. Abubakar, how old is Abubakar? 36, 37? And he cannot even finish his career in Cameroon because teams in Cameroon cannot afford him. So what has Abubakar done? He's actually gone to is it Azerbaijan? Yeah, he's gone to Azerbaijan to go play to go finish his career. And that's Azerbaijan that's gonna benefit from all that experience. When you plan, for the future, when you plan for football, when you have solid projects, as how Morocco is, as the projects that Morocco actually has, then you can aspire to win these things. Now, I said I was going to talk about a few Cameroonian players. We all know Cameroon will be going to the playoffs for the World Cup, African playoffs. They're likely to play Democratic Republic of Congo. Nigeria is also going. Nigeria will likely play Gabon. So the format, it will actually take place next month in Morocco, where there will be like two semifinals, a final. Then the winner will actually leave to go play a FIFA continental playoffs. So talking about this, right? There were some conversations that I was having as far as the Cameroonian players, the strikers, the Cameroonian team. If you look at the number source, that Namaso actually played some time, but if you look at Magri, that did not play any part, you know, in the games. That did not play, you know, that did not take any part, you know, in these games. He scored his fourth goal of the season. His fourth goal of the season. And a lot of fans are talking about him not getting enough play time. I mean, what can we say? The problem with Cameroon national team is not that strikers are not firing. It's a service. It's a service. The strikers are not receiving service. When you look at the Cameroon national team, we are not able to play from behind into midfield and then into attack. Long balls are not suited, you know, for such players. We need to find a way where we can give the strikers service. Magri has scored his fourth of the season. Namaso has scored his second of the season. You know, we talked Etai Young has scored four. Is it 4 or 5? So Etai Young actually he started, but he could not score because the service, as I've been saying, is not there. So even when Abubakar plays, most fans have been complaining that he shouldn't start. When he starts, same story. I mean, we were playing a good team, same story. You know, if you don't give the players good service, if you don't serve them the ball in the final third, when players make a run from deep, from very deep, it's it becomes difficult. It becomes easy for the defenders to actually defend against them. Buemo also scored today. And you see, even with Manchester United, Buemo has been struggling because the service was not actually there. Today, you saw him score when he was given an opportunity. That was a good chance. He was clinical. He scored. So the problem with Cameroon is not the center forwards, that the center forwards are not scoring. The problem is that how do you create opportunities for those strikers? It's not basically only a coaching problem. Yes, I do understand that the coaching, you know, the coaches have struggled or the coaches actually bear some responsibility. But hey, I think the problem with Cameroon has been more of an administrative problem, especially that game with Etsosini, where we arrived 24 hours before the game, only to go and draw. You know, when you run a national team as if it's a local business, not professional enough, that's what happens in this day and age. And yes, Morocco just won. Morocco are under 20 champions, beating Argentina convincingly by the score of 2 goals to 0. Now, I am happy for Morocco. I am happy for these kids. I am happy for these kids. I mean, that's how you run football. You know, that's how you run football. Look at Argentina crying. Look at Argentina crying. 2 goals to 0. Morocco beat France in the same competition. Look at the coach. The coach is crying. The coach is in tears. Man, I mean, this is just amazing. This is just amazing. You know, Morocco has just proven to all Africans that when you plan, you can be successful. When you have a solid grassroots football, when you have a good scouting project, when you take care of the kids, the local kids, it's not only the diasporans. Look at, I'm happy for these kids, man. I'm happy for these kids because it tells you something, right? We must not only look at the Brazils. You know, most of our soccer players, you hear no names, people calling themselves Ronaldo. You hear kids calling themselves Haaland, Maradona, Messi, whatever you got, you know. Now you can call yourself, you know, Mustafa, Zari, whatever. it gets, man. This is actually a beautiful story, in my opinion. This is a beautiful story. I just like what is happening to Morocco. I like what is happening to Morocco because they have planned to succeed. And when you plan to succeed, you know, you will actually see the returns. I'm happy for Morocco, and I wish a lot of African countries can settle down because football, I mean, football can be a very, you know, I mean, can be a good business. You can make lot of money, but everybody wants to sit and work together and look into one direction. Morocco has started. I wish Morocco goes to the African Nations Cup and win the African Nations Cup. I will be happy for them, and I'll be watching Morocco play the World Cup as well. And if you look at this Morocco team, just go 4 years back, you see that a lot of the players that started in Qatar were not the ones who qualified Morocco for the African Cup of Nations. You know, so their foundation, this foundation from grassroots to the league, is what is actually sustaining the national team. When we talk about Morocco, we talk about players like Hakimi, right? He was born in Spain, diasporan. Then tomorrow, you will be talking about kids that were born in Morocco, and that might be will be playing the finals or winning the World Cup sometime soon because they planted the seeds of tomorrow's victory. And that's what everybody needs to be doing. Not to be too reliant on the diaspora. Of course, everybody has different modules. Everybody has their own way of approaching. You see Senegal. Senegal has a different module where they have that nucleus from the young kids, also with their coaching, but their leagues is not as competitive yet. We see Tanzania doing something good also from their league, but they have not started reaping benefits at national team level. Uganda, Kenya, there's a lot of countries that are working in the back, in the background. Cameroon is doing the opposite. Cameroon in the 70s, in the 80s, and right up into the 90s had a competitive league. The job we did in the 70s and the 80s actually gave us a good foundation to dominate football. But football has changed. Everybody has some level of exposure right now. A lot of kids all over the world playing football. So it's not just Cameroon. So what are you going to do to give yourself an advantage? You have to prepare. You have to be competitive. You have to believe. Football is also psychological. The module of Cameroon, if you go to most football schools, they are actually planning to sell players overseas. The Balibas, the Ita, and all that, those guys came from not the league, but from football schools and being sold to Europe. Now you can look at Baliba, you can look at Ita, Ayam, or the other guy from Bayer Leverkusen and say, oh yeah, Cameroon is doing good. No, we're not talking about the hundreds in the past decade that tried to transition from a football school in Cameroon and got lost somewhere, lost in transition. So when we see programs like this, like Morocco, we should applaud them because that's the way forward. I hope you enjoyed this show. Let's have this conversation. Again, I'm going to be consistent with it, so that we can be interactive. Thanks for watching. This was presented by True Lion. Morocco is under 20 football champion. And I bet you that will carry on, and motivate them for the upcoming African Cup of Nations. And I'll say this year, I wish Morocco also wins the African Cup of Nations. Thanks for watching.